Hi, it's Kim Darwaza, and today I am here with Jennifer Saman from Central Title and Escrow, and her office is conveniently located inside the Beltway in Annandale. So, great location for all your title needs. She also travels around, right, to do
Absolutely.
closing because of COVID. So, if you need a great title agent, definitely put her in your contracts, and I'll let her give you her information at the end. But I thought today it would be really important to talk about how important the title piece is as part of the closing process. There's sort of, once your contract is, we're under contract, you send it to the title company, they do all the title searches, and they order the survey if you want. They're a very integral piece of the closing process. They do all the recording at the courthouse and all the dispersing of the funds. So it's a really big job and really important. But I think as part of my buyer and seller education series, I just wanted to dive a little deeper into some of the things they do. So first off, we're going to talk about title insurance. Now, the lender's title insurance policy is required to cover their ownership interest in the property. Mm-hmm. The buyer's coverage is not required, but I always tell everyone it is required, because if you may not have an issue, but if you do, it's going to cost you a lot of money to get it resolved, lawyers' fees, and if you have title insurance, they take care of everything for you. So Jennifer, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit more about title insurance, what it covers, and why it's so important.
Sure. So title insurance is extremely important. I always recommend it to every customer. It is optional, and I appreciate the fact that you say, Kim, that is a requirement, because obviously you are wanting to protect your client's interests, and that's wonderful. Title insurance protects and guarantees title for any discrepancies, any forgeries, any liens, tax liens, real estate tax liens, IRS tax liens, anything that was missed on a will, any error that was missed, for all of the title discrepancies in the past. And it's a phenomenal type of insurance, and I don't just say that because I'm in the title business. I say that because as a consumer, I would look to have that for peace of mind.
Right. And just sort of a crazy story I heard, and you can let me know if you agree with this or not, but so there was a piece of land that now in Arlington, where the Atrium condo is now apparently located on, and apparently it was owned by a husband and a wife, and they were in the process of getting divorced. The husband sold it to the developer who built the condo complex, and he had his girlfriend pose as like the soon-to-be ex-wife and sign all the properties, and the ex-wife, I guess, was living in West Virginia, so he didn't think he'd get caught, and she, I guess, drove through town and noticed there was a condo building on her land, and so apparently she sued every single owner in that condo building, and the people who had title insurance were covered, and the people who didn't had to deal with the repercussions,
of course,
on their own.
That's right.
So, and another thing too is, as part of the title insurance policy, there's a mechanics lien.
That's right.
Piece, which I think is really important, especially because I know a lot of my clients, I go over to their house and I'm like, you need to do X, Y, and Z, and they're spending thousands of dollars with contractors like right before they sell. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is if they don't pay those contractors, the contractors can put a lien on the property, and that lien goes with the property, not with the person. So then it becomes the new owner's responsibility. So to me, that's really scary, because you see all these like flip houses, and I see tons of them with a lot of cosmetic updates, and the paint is barely dry.
That's right.
So, I think that's a huge thing. Now, the second part that involves me that I think is important is a survey, which is optional. But I always tell everyone it's not optional. Obviously, if you live in a condo, you don't get a survey because you don't have a yard. But for a townhouse or a regular single-family home, it's important. So why don't you tell us why a survey is so important?
Sure. So there's a few kinds of surveys out there as to options. The most prevalent kind, and the one that people normally get just on a regular home, like a regular home survey, is they would get what's called a house location survey. So it would genuinely just show the buyer where their home is on the land and the property line, if you will. And that will help them for future. For instance, if they want to build a fence, or if there's an actual fence already there, an existing fence, it will show them where the fence lies. Is it in our property? Is it a little bit outside of our property, into the neighbor's property? Where is it built? So all of that information is very important, certainly for future and for information at the time of closing too.
Right. And I think people have like easements on their property that other people, and that probably shows up on there too.
That's right.
Yeah, and maybe if people have a shared driveway.
That's right. I'm sorry.
So
they
yeah,
can
because I
ingress.
just had a client ask me, she's having issues with a shared driveway and the neighbors, so that's thing. And then finally, right before we go to closing, we now generally wire our funds to the
Right.
title company. Some title companies still accept cashier's checks, but there's been a lot of fraud with that too. So the biggest thing is we're having a lot of wire fraud right now. So it's so important. There's like phishing scams.
Yes.
And they just basically take all your her information and they just change the email address
Right.
or something like that. And so you think it's coming from the title company, but it's not. So I think it's so important if you get one of these emails and you're about to close that you call me, or if you have the phone number for the title company, it's probably better for me to call me and then have me give you her
That's
phone
correct.
number, and you call them and say, did you send me this email?
Absolutely.
Do not email and say, did you send
Exactly,
me this email?
because you'll get a
Call them.
positive response,
Yeah,
right?
and because once the money has been wired, and trust me, this has happened, I'm sure you
It has.
happened. Once the money is wired to whoever's offshore account,
Yes.
you're never getting it back.
Exactly.
So it's just, we really, really have been stressing this a lot lately.
Absolutely.
So, anything else? Like, what do people need to bring to closing?
So people should bring their IDs, their funds, if they haven't wired them. We still here at Central Title do accept cashier's checks. We call and verify them as well with the banking institution to where they were drawn on. Deposit them right away. Basically your mask, no. These days your mask. Your
Yeah,
ID,
and they will, and
your
if you don't,
funds,
if you don't feel comfortable coming in, they do remote
Of course,
closings
yeah, we do.
too. And so those are the main. Do you want to tell them? Do you have a website or
Yes,
email or something like that you want
absolutely.
to share?
Our website is www.centraltitling.com, and my email address is jennifer@centraltitleinc.com.
Great. Yep. Well, thank you for coming on and sharing all
It was
this
a
great
pleasure.
information
Thank you.
with us. And obviously, if you have any questions regarding the content of this video, you can call, text, PM me, whatever, or comment below, and we'll be happy to answer any of your additional questions.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching, and stay healthy, everyone.